Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a circus, including interior. You get the whole package with this tutorial for half the price. By the way, I do want to point out that whilst I think that this is a very easy build to do, it's not very complex whatsoever, it's very easy to follow along, it is going to take a long time to make, just because of the size of this place. So, if you can, I would highly recommend building it with a friend, because it's just going to make it so much easier. Oh, and also, if you have any more building related needs, I would highly recommend checking out the card system, because if you like this particular build right here, not only will you find loads more like this in the card system, but I'll throw in a couple of other things that I think that you guys might really like as well. But that's more than enough talking. If you want to make the circus, here's what you're going to need. Grab yourself some block of quartz, and grab some birchwood planks, grab dark oak planks, then grab yourself some nether brick fence. You'll also want to grab some quartz stairs and some dark oak stairs. Flip over, grab yourself some red wool, grab white wool, and finally guys, grab yourself some yellow wool. Now, we are probably going to need quite a few more materials than this, but we're just going to have to swap them in and out as we need them. So once you have each one of those materials right there, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'll be making it right here. And by the way, I'm going to point out that I'm going to be starting with the entrance first of all. So we're going to make the entrance, and then we'll build the rest of the tent actually around this. So to start off with the entrance, you're going to want to kick this off by doing a row of 6 red wool coming up directly from the ground. That's 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You then want to take the 6th red wool, go right of it by 8, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then connect that 8th block all the way down to the ground to form an archway shape like this. And the entrance isn't actually going to look exactly like this, but close enough. But this is where it is, guys. Now that we've got the entrance figured out, so now you know where the front of your circus is going to be, because there is only one entrance, we can now build the rest of it. So once you have the entrance done, you now want to, looking down at your world like this, so you're looking down at the ground, because that's going to be the easiest way to build this. You want to find the very first red block that you place, which is this one right here, and up left diagonally from that red block, you guys can see it, you want to place a quartz. Then go left of that quartz by 6, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you want to have something which should look like that, just to show you. So in total, you want a row of 7. 1 plus 6 is 7. Now let's speed this up a bit. So continuing on from the left hand side here, we want to do an up left diagonal, then go left by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an up left diagonal, go left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do an up left diagonal, go left by 3. 1, 2, 3. Do an up left diagonal, go left by 2. 1, 2. Do an up left diagonal, go left by 1. Then do an up left diagonal. Then do another up left diagonal. Go up by 1. Then do an up left diagonal and go up by 2. 1, 2. Do an up left diagonal and go up by 3. 1, 2, 3. Do an up left diagonal and go up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do an up left diagonal and go up by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an up left diagonal and go up by 14. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then do an upright diagonal and go up by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an upright diagonal and go up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do an upright diagonal and go up by 3. 1, 2, 3. Do an upright diagonal and go up by 2. Then do an upright diagonal, go up by 1. Then do 2 upright diagonals, that's 1 and 2. Then go right by 1. Do an upright diagonal, go right by 2. 1, 2. Then do an upright diagonal, go right by 3. 1, 2, 3. Do an upright diagonal, go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do an upright diagonal, go right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an upright diagonal and go right this time by 22. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Then do a bottom right diagonal and go right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do a bottom right diagonal and go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do a bottom right diagonal and go right by 3. 1, 2, 3. Then do a bottom right diagonal and go right by 2. Then do a bottom right diagonal and go right by 1. Then do 2 bottom right diagonals, that's 1 and 2. Then come down from that second bottom right diagonal by 1. Do a bottom right diagonal and come down by 2. Then do a bottom right diagonal and come down by 3. 1, 2, 3. Do a bottom right diagonal and come down by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do a bottom right diagonal and come down by 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do a bottom right diagonal and come down by 14. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then do a bottom left diagonal and come down by 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do a bottom left diagonal and come down by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do a bottom left diagonal and come down by 3. 1, 2, 3. Do a bottom left diagonal and come down by 2. 1, 2. Then do a bottom left diagonal and come down by 1. Then do 2 bottom left diagonals, that's 1 and 2. Then go left of that second bottom left diagonal by 1. Do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 2. Then do another bottom left diagonal and go left by 3, that's 1, 2, 3. Do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 5, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 6, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Assuming that you have managed to get every single one of those measurements right, you should reconnect all the way to the back right hand side of the entrance and end up with a shape that looks exactly like this. Once you have this shape, guys, this is what we're going to do next. So what we're now actually going to do is we're going to work on the interior of the circus first of all. We have the shape of the tent, we have the base shape of the tent, but it's probably going to be a lot easier for us if we take care of the interior first whilst we still have the light, and then work on the actual shape of the tent. So that is exactly what we're going to do. So once you have the shape of your circus taken care of, you now want to come all the way to the back side of the entrance. I'm just going to pick up that quartz block that I threw away earlier. So what we now want to do is we want to measure out 2 rows of 17 that come back from each one of these back corners of the entrance. So we want to, from the back of this block here and the back of this block here, we want to drag these backwards, each by, actually I believe that it'll be 18, guys, my apologies, it's going to be 18 not 17, so let's just use something to mark this out. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then place a red wall block behind that 18th block, and then we can just destroy this row of yellow that we made. So we have our row of 18, and then we place a red wall behind it. And we want to have the same thing on this side as well, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to look directly forward. I'm just going to drag a row of red wall all the way over like this, and we now have a row of red wall that is 18 blocks away from the entrance and is also equal in size to the entrance, like that. Now, once you have that, once you have this row of red wool, you want to look down upon it, down to the ground again, and starting from this left-hand block that we have right here, you want to do this sequence of blocks on the ground. You want to do an up left diagonal, then go left by 2, then do an up left diagonal, and go left by 1, then do 5 up left diagonals, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then go up by 1, do an up left diagonal and go up by 2. Do an up left diagonal and go up by 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then do an up right diagonal and go up by 2. Do an up right diagonal and go up by 1. Do 5 up right diagonals. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. then go right by 1, do an upper right diagonal and go right by 2, 1, 2, then do an upper right diagonal and go right by 8, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then do a bottom right diagonal and go right by 2, do a bottom right diagonal and go right by 1, then do 5 bottom right diagonals, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then go down by 1, then do a bottom right diagonal and go down by 2, then do a bottom right diagonal and go down by 8, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go down by 2. Do a bottom left diagonal and go down by 1. Then do 5 bottom left diagonals, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then go left by 1, do a bottom left diagonal, go left by 2. So what you want to have on the ground should look a little bit like this, and this is hopefully a circle right in the very center of our circus. So once you have this red circle on the ground, this is what you want to do next. So take out your dark oak wood planks, and we have to do this exact same thing not only on the left hand side of the circle, but we have to do it on the right hand side. So you want to first of all find the very center block on the left hand side of the circle first of all. It should be the 5th block coming in from either side. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there we go. And up from this block we want to do a row of 18 dark oak wood planks. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And what we want to do to this is, well, this. Well, from the 4th block coming down from the top, so this will be 1, 2, 3, and this should be the 4th block, I believe. We want to place a row of birchwood planks going all the way around the inside of the row like this. So we kind of want to have like this U shape of birchwood planks going all the way around the inside of that row. Then we want to place an additional birchwood plank here directly in front. So now we kind of have like a Y shape. We're actually going to need a couple more materials for this. We're going to need to get rid of the yellow wool for a bit because we won't need it for a while. And get rid of, what don't we need, guys? What don't we need? Get rid of nether brick fence for a while as well. I'm just going to shuffle these materials up. And grab yourself some birch wood stairs and also grab yourself some birch wood fence. Take out your birch wood stairs and do a layer of birch wood stairs kind of like going all the way around the shape that you've just made. So what we're making here is a platform. It wants to look like this. Once you have this platform on this side of your on this side of your circle, you want to have the same thing on the opposite side. So we're now coming to the opposite side, and with the dark oak wood planks, we're taking this very center block, which I believe is this one. It's block number 5. We want to go up by 18 with the dark oak wood planks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We then want to take out the birchwood planks, find the 4th block coming down, so that'll be the 1st block, that's the 2nd, 3rd, and this is the 4th block coming down. We want to do the U shape of birchwood planks all around it on the inside. Take the middle block, extend it towards the center by 1. With the birchwood stairs, we want to do a layer of birchwood stairs going all the way around the inside of the platform that we've just formed like this. We then want to take out the birchwood fence and connect those single birchwood planks that we have in the center. We want to connect them together, and what we're forming here, and you don't have to use this material, iron and bars would actually probably work quite well as well. You want to form a tightrope, and we can now discard the birchwood fence for a little while, and we can grab some ladders, guys. We're looking for the ladders. There we go. And we can place the ladders going all the way up the back of the 2 rows of dark oak wood planks that we made. So the 2 long rows of 18 dark oak wood planks, we can place ladders coming directly behind them. So now we have a tightrope. We can then discard the ladders and the birchwood stairs, and we can grab some oak wood planks. Take out your oak wood planks and do a layer of oak wood planks inside of the circular shape. So inside of your red circle, you just want to have a slightly smaller circle of oak wood planks. So we're just going all the way around the inside with the oak wood, and we're just kind of reinforcing the circular shape. This will take a little time, although we are already over halfway done. So once we've done this, I can let you guys know what we have to do to the ring next, and there's not too much that we have to do to it after this. So smash that. What you want to end up with should look a little bit like this. Perfect. Once you've done that, what we now want to do is we want to destroy the first layer of earth inside of the circle. We want to get rid of it because we're going to be replacing it with a different material, and I already have it highlighted in my inventory. We're going to want to use birchwood planks, so we're going to want to destroy the very first layer of the ring, and we want to replace that layer with birchwood planks. So we're going to want to, and you're going to obviously have to use your imagination a little bit here, you're going to want to end up with something that should look like this, except of course imagine that the whole ring is filled in with birchwood planks, and then that will be the ring done. What I am going to do is I'm going to destroy the very base layer of dirt that we have inside the ring, going to destroy that, and I'm going to be back in just a moment, guys, once I have actually filled in the very center of the ring in with birchwood planks. Just because it's going to save a little bit of time for the tutorial, we don't want to make this video too long. Plus it's boring to watch me smash out all of these blocks and replace them with birchwood planks. So I'll be back in just a moment, guys, once I've accomplished that for myself. Continue doing it for yourself and we can just reconvene in a second. Okay, so as you can see, guys, we've completely destroyed the floor and replaced it with birchwood planks. Doesn't that look a lot better? Now, once you yourself have taken care of that, and I fully understand if you have to pause this video and come back to this part, once you have 100% fully completed that, we can now work on the last things that we're going to have included inside of the circus tent. So these are going to be stands for people to sit on. So where shall we start? We'll start with this back part first of all. So come all the way to the back part of your circus, which is here. It's obviously opposite the entrance. Take out your old pal, oh I don't know, use quartz. And you want to locate these rows of 3 that we have on the left hand side and the right hand side of these long rows of 9. Take the middle blocks of your rows of 3 and extend them, coming towards the back of your circus each by 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then place a white wool behind each one of those rows of 6 and then destroy the quartz. It doesn't really matter if you use quartz or not, but it does matter that you use white wool because that's the actual material. What you then want to do is you want to take each one of those white wools and you want to do up diagonals, so coming this way towards the back of the tent, and you want to do 6 of them. So let's say that we're taking left hand view of this one, we want to do 6 up left diagonals, so that'll look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that will be 6. Like so. Do the same on the opposite side. So we're now on the opposite side, and now we want to obviously do upright diagonals, and we just want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We then want to connect each one of those 6 blocks together, like this. And we can also connect those 6 blocks to the ground, but we want to use red wool. So what we're just making like the bare bones of the stand at the moment. This is where people are going to sit, and it wants to look a little something like this. Now, once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. And this is kind of tricky, like this whole little situation. So we're at the front of the stand, and we want to be in line with this very first white wool block on the left. Going right of this, do this sequence of blocks. Do 1 dark oak wood stair, then 4 red wool, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 stair, 4 red wool, 1 stair, like this. What you then want to do for the next row, going from left to right, this might be the easiest way to do it, going from left to right, do 1 dark oak wood stair. You then want to do a row of white wool underneath that row. So just behind the row of red wool and dark oak, you want to do a row of white wool underneath it. You then, behind and up diagonally of each one of those dark oak wood stairs, want to do another dark oak wood stair. You then want to take out your quartz stairs, and you want to take the 2 middle blocks in your 2 white sections, and you want to fill them in with quartz stairs like this. So you can see that they're kind of evenly spaced. We have quartz stairs on top of the white wool, and we have dark oak wood stairs, well, diagonally from the dark oak wood stairs. We then want to take out the red wool, Actually, do this. With your dark oak wood stairs on the left and right hand side, we want to do a layer of dark oak wood stairs that pretty much goes all the way up to the top of the back of the stand. We want to do this on the left and the right. We also want to do it with the center as well, so we want to take each one of those 3 sets of dark oak wood stairs going up towards the top. What we now want to do is this. So with our red wool, behind the row where we have our quartz stairs, we want to do a row of red wool. So it just wants to sit behind, and it doesn't matter much what the inside of the stand looks like because it's going to be covered. So we now want to have a row of red wool sitting back behind the row that we've made. We then want to do a layer of red on top of that row of red wool. So on top of that row of red wool, add a layer of red. We then sat directly behind that layer of red. We want to have a layer of white, so from the outside it wants to look like this. On top of the 2 center blocks of the 2 white wall sections, we want to have quartz stairs. Then, behind those quartz stairs, and on top of the layer of red that you're going to do, you want to add a layer of red wool. So you want to have a layer of red behind the stairs, and then up one from the stairs. So it wants to look like that. Then do a layer of white wool behind that second layer of red, like this. Then take your quartz stairs and do quartz stairs in the center of the 2 rows of white that you have, and then behind that you're going to want to do a layer of red wool. So from the front you want to have something which should look very much like this, and that is perfect, guys. That is what, like, they're the seating stands that we have, and they're supposed to look exactly like that, which is quite nice. And obviously once those are filled in, we can now fill in the sides completely with red wool, and we can also fill the back in. And the reason that I just said obviously there for no reason, I was going to say, and now obviously it doesn't matter what we did to the interior. It doesn't matter what the inside of the stand looks like. It doesn't matter if it's a bit of a mess like that, because we've now just covered it up with red wool. So whatever you have to do to kind of like reach this point right here for the inside, it really doesn't matter, as long as we all end up with the exact same thing, which we hopefully will. So we just want to have something which should look exact. It wants to look a little like this, and it's quite nice. Now, not only do we want to have just one of these stands, we want more than one. We want to have one right at the back here, but on the exact same place, or the exact same positioning, we want to also have one on the right and the left as well. So once you have that very first stand taken care of, we're now going to do it 2 more times. Okay, so let's do this 2 more times. Well, let's start over with the left-hand side first of all, why not? So, first of all, we just have to take out a block. It doesn't really matter which one, as long as it's probably not white wool. And we want to take the middle block in each one of these rows of 3 and extend them coming towards the outside of the circus, each by 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We then want to place a white wool block behind each one of those rows of 6, destroy those rows of 6, and then coming towards the outer part of the tent, we want to do 6 up diagonals. So in this case, it's left diagonal, so that'll be 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And do the same with the opposite side. So the opposite side, we want to do 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We then want to connect each one of those 6 blocks together with white wool. Then connect those 6 blocks down to the ground with the red, and this will kind of like be the base of the stand. So let's connect them down to the ground with the red wool, and we will have the base of our stand. So we'll have this. What we then want to do is going from left to right from this very first white wool that we placed here on the left, we want to do 1 dark oak wood stair, then 4 red wool, 1 stair, 4 red, 1 stair. Like that. We can then take each one of these stairs and we can kind of extend them, coming up diagonally towards the top of the stand. So that's the left hand side done, this is the right hand side, and we will also do it to the middle. The middle's obviously a little bit more complicated, as we found out earlier before. So we'll place the dark oak wood plank blocks and then we'll place the stairs. So we just want to have something which should look a little bit like this. Perfect, so those are all the stairs done. Now all we have to do is actually build up the seating area. So behind this row of red wool, we want to have a row of white wool. Then, upwards diagonally from that row of white wool, we want to have a row of red, with a layer of red on top of it. Behind that layer of red, a row of white wool. Back diagonally from that white, a row of red wool. Then a row of red wool on top. Then a row of white behind it. And then a row of red wool right behind that. So just to show you the right hand side, we just have these increasing increments of red and white walls, and on top of those, as you guys know, we want to have the quartz stairs right in the center, so we have a nice little seating area. That's the right hand side done. Why don't we do the same thing to the left hand side? So remember, it's up and back diagonally from the layer of white, then red on top of that, white behind the second layer, up and back diagonally from the white, layer of red on top, layer of white behind, layer of red up back diagonally from that. So we want to have something, again, it's the exact same thing once more, that should look like this. And then we just want to have the quartz stairs right in the very center of each one of those white walls. So we just want to have something which should look exactly like this. And then all we have to do is fill the left hand side, the right hand side, and the right hand side, not the right hand side, the right hand side in, and the back with red wool. We want to fill the entire stand in with red wool. I don't know why I'm listing each one of the three sides of this thing, but I guess that's the mind, that's how it works. So we're just filling this thing in, and then we'll just have to do this one more time. And once we've done that, actually, we do have a lot more to do to the inside, but it's really easy stuff that we have to add. So this is the second stand in total. Very simple, guys. Once you've done the first one, you can do the second one easy, and once you've done the second one, the third one, we're taking out our old pal, the block of... Now we'll use virtual planks. So we want to extend them coming towards the side, each by 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We want to place white wool behind each one of the rows of 6. I'm then going to destroy these little guiding rows. So we now have 2 white wool blocks. We then want to extend them coming towards the side of our circus, each by 6 with diagonals. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that should be 6. And this one as well, we want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We then want to connect those 6 blocks together with the white wool, but we want to connect them to the ground with the red, as you might remember. And then this will give us the base of the stand, and then we can work very quickly to make this stand look exactly how we did the others. So if you guys might remember, once we have the stand complete, we then want to take the very first row and go from left to right. We want to do 1 dark oak stair, then 4 red wool. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 stair, 4 red wool, 1 stair. We then want to take each one of the 3 sets of stairs and we want to extend them coming up diagonally towards the back. So this will be the right hand side done, which was very tricky. I don't know why those didn't want to place in the correct manner, but this is going to be the left hand side. And now we just have to do the center, which, as we all know, is the most irritating part, but it doesn't take very long at all to accomplish, does it, guys? So we just want to now place these stairs here and here. There we go. So we now have the 3 rows like that. And then what we can do is we can then just fill in all of the rows of white and red just behind each one of the individual sections of the stairs. So we'll add all of the red wool. Now all of the white behind the red. Then it's a very similar pattern. Then we want to do the upwards back layer of red, then the, then the layer of red on top, then white behind the red, then up backwards from the actual layer of white, we want to have the other layer of red. And whilst I'm here, actually, I'm also going to fill in the sides of the stand just because I'm already back here. And then we can just add what will be left. We'll just have to add the quartz stairs on top of each one of the sections. And then that will be the third and final stand done. And then I can show you guys what you might want to do as well. But I'm gonna leave... No, you know what? I will show you what you can do, or at least what's going to happen later. It's going to happen later. It is going to happen at some point, and I may as well let you know. If you want to do it now whilst we actually have the light, I'll let you guys know what we do have on plan. So we're now just placing the quartz stairs, and this will be the final part of the stand complete. So each one of our 3 identical stands. For some reason, I thought that that was off-center there for a moment. I don't know why, but there we go. What's going to be happening later on, for me, because I'm not going to be doing it on recording, because I've already done this once and it takes so long, I'm going to make the entire floor of the circus sandstone. So everywhere around the stands, inside of the tent, not outside. I'm not doing this to the outside because that doesn't really need it. But I'm going to be doing sandstone block, and I'm using chiseled sandstone. Is it smooth or chiseled? I'm using smooth sandstone. I want the smooth sandstone finish on top, and I'm going to do this to the floor. The entire floor, we've just destroyed a quartz block. The entire floor is going to be made out of smooth sandstone. All of it. Every single block that isn't obviously covered by anything is going to be smooth sandstone. So obviously you don't get the effect from the very few rows that we have, and the reason that I won't be doing it on recording until later is because it's going to take so long. But later on, I am going to fill the entire area for the floor in with smooth sandstone. If you want to do that now, whilst you still actually have light inside of the circus, I would highly recommend doing it now if you are going to do it. If not, maybe you want to do it later when it's all dark and the tent's all up. So, once you've reached this point right here, guys, this is what we're going to do next. So, that's the interior pretty much done. It's now time for us to build up the walls and build up the entire tent. So come all the way to the front left-hand side of the entrance. So this very first quartz block that we placed a little earlier on, this is what you want to do. You're in line with this one and going clockwise around the top of the base of the circus. You want to do this sequence of blocks. You want to do one red wall. Sorry. You don't want to do one red wall. You want to start off, it doesn't matter which way you start this off actually. You want to do one white wall, one red. That's how I have it designed. You want to do one white wall, one red, one white, one red, one white, one red, one white. It doesn't have to be that way around. It can be the reverse, so it could be red, white, red, white. But you want to have this pattern. Whoops. How did oak get in there? You want to have this pattern going all the way around the base of your circus. Just repeated over and over and over again. So it's just red, white, red, white, red, white, so on and so forth. I can't keep saying that. I'll eventually tongue-tie myself. But you want to have this pattern going all the way around the base of your circus. I don't think I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say it one more time. You want to keep repeating red and white, just alternating between the two, or white and red if you want to go crazy, all the way around the base of your circus. This is where the irritating part of this circus comes into play. So, I said this right at the start of the video. I don't think that this circus is difficult. We've actually already done the hardest bit of the circus, which is the interior. The hardest bit of the circus is definitely the interior. I'd say that out of everything, those stands are the hardest things to do. But this is where everything takes time. I'm sorry about that very obvious cut, guys, but what happened was I realized that I made a mistake. I actually got all the way to the end of this pattern, and the reason that I'm leaving this in here and not just like pretending that nothing happened is because it's very, very easy to make a mistake with a pattern like this. So do make sure that maybe once you've done it the first time, once you've went all around the base of the entrance, maybe take a look at it from like a bird's eye view and make sure the second layer will obviously come a little bit easier. And we're just about approaching the entrance again, so I didn't have to undo too much of my work. But what you want to have and how it should eventually end, assuming that all of the pattern is right, you want to have white wool on the left and right hand side of the entrance. Like a very, very quick red flag is if this white wool on here isn't also white directly to the right of the entrance, it should be the same colour. Anyway, once you have this taken care of, once you have the very first layer of your red, white alternating pattern. Again, you might want to look down upon it with a bird's eye view, make sure it's correct because it's easy to mess up. Trust me, I know, it's easy to mess up. We can then move on to the next bit. So what we now want to do is we want to add on top of this very first layer of white and red, we want to add not 1, not 2, but 3 more layers of the colour on top of this very base layer. So in total we want to have 4. We already have 1, plus 3 is 4. And we want to do this going all the way around the very base of what we've made. The easiest way to do this, I would say, is to go all the way around clockwise and place all of the red wool, or all of the white, doesn't matter which way you do this, place all of the red wool on top of where it's supposed to go. So add a layer of one colour going all the way around like this, kind of just like placing red on top of red, and then I would do the same with the white. So I'd go all the way around the base here, placing red wool on top of the red, and then once you've done a full rotation of the red, I would then say that it's probably easiest and probably least time consuming and least aggravating is a real wool in one go like this. So now we kind of looks like teeth, I suppose, really manky red teeth, and then to go all the way around again and do it with the white wool. So now we'll do an entire layer of white, or again, do it whichever way you find less frustrating, or maybe the fastest. If you've got a friend, this is good as well. Like, if you've got a friend that's like just doing white and you're just doing red, it will get done in half the time and it will be so much easier. Honestly, a lot of these builds, especially when it comes to bigger things, it's not really like a test of skill, it's not like a test of, like, I don't know, like complexity. It really just does usually boil down to, are you willing to put in the however many hours it takes to make it? And the circus tent is definitely one of those builds. So I think that this is the easiest way to do this, going all the way around the base of it with the white and red individually. But you might feel differently, you might find differently. Completely up to you, of course. It doesn't matter as long as we all arrive at the same place, which is eventually going to be in total 4 layers of colour, and then on top of those layers of colour, I'm gonna say it right now, we're going to be adding a layer of quartz. So once we've added all of the layers of colour, we'll then be adding a layer of quartz. But there you go, guys, that is 2 rows of the colour. We now have 2 more to do. I'm not going to be doing it on recording because I don't think I have to, plus I've got nothing to talk about. So I'm going to be going away, I'm going to add 2 more layers of colour, and then once I've finished that, guys, I'm going to be back and we can move on to the next bit. So I'll be back in just a moment once I've added 2 additional layers on top of this very first 2. Alright guys, so as you may be able to see, I have now added every single one of those layers of colour on top of that first initial layer. So in total we should have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of colour. That took a while. Now, once you yourself have reached this point right here, and just in case you need to pause the video, feel free if you are still working on that. Once you've got that taken care of, you want to add a layer of quartz. We're just going to add a layer of quartz that kind of like bisects the roof, like all the way up the middle, halfway through the roof. We're going to add what looks like kind of like a semicircle, and all of the layers of colour that we will add from that point onwards that will make up the roof will converge all the way up at the top of your layer of quartz. This is what you want to do next. Once you've reached this point right here, you now want to come all the way over to the left hand side of your circus. You want to come all the way over to the left hand side where we have this long row of quartz. Where we have this long row of quartz on the left hand side here, we want to find the very center block, which is in line with the tightrope. You can remember those long rows of dark oak wood planks in the center. It's in line with this in the center of the stand, but if you want to count it out, starting from either side, it will be the 8th block coming in. So that'll be the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. It'll be the 8th block coming in. On top of that 8th block, do a layer coming inwards from that 8th block diagonally. You want to do a row of 7 block of quartz. So that'll be the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So we want to have a row which should look like this. So inwards from that center block, we want a layer of 7 block of quartz. Now, looking forward towards the front of a 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an up left diagonal and go up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do an up left diagonal and go up by 3. 1, 2, 3. do an up left diagonal and go up by 2. Then do another up left diagonal and go up by 2. Do an up left diagonal and go left by 1. Then do an up left diagonal and go left by 2. Then do an up left diagonal and go left by 3. 1, 2, 3. Then do an up left diagonal and go left by 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do an up left diagonal and go left by 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an up left diagonal and go left by 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then do an up left diagonal and go left by 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, and whilst we're up here, guys, since we'll have to do this later anyway, on top of the center block of this row of 8 that we have right here, so it'll be the 5th block coming in from either side, you want to stack a row of, let's call it 7 red wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You then want to take this second block, the first block from the top, and you want to go right of it by 2 with your quartz. That's 1, 2. Then the block underneath it, going right, you want to do a row of 4 block of quartz. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the row underneath that, do another row of 2 block of quartz. Then with your quartz stairs, you want to do an upside down quartz stairs underneath that block there, and then underneath this block here, and on top, and towards this way. So it's actually easier to kind of like see what you have to do rather than me explaining, but you guys can see what we've done there. We have something which should look exactly like this, and this is just a flag that's at the top of the circus. We won't really be up here too much after we've done the framework of the layers of the roof, so I thought we'd do that now. Once you've got that flag taken care of, you now want to come all the way back over to this row of 9 in total. 1 plus 8 is 9, and starting from the left hand side, we want to do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 3. 1, 2, 3. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 2. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go left by 1. Do a bottom left diagonal and go down by 2. Do a bottom left diagonal and go down by 2. Do a bottom left diagonal and go down by 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go down by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go down by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then do a bottom left diagonal and go down by 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if everything's been done correctly, you should connect diagonally all the way back over to the opposite side in the exact same place on the left as it is the right, and you should end up with a shape that should look exactly like this. So there's what you want to have for the roof of your circus, or at least kind of like the outline of the roof. Everything from here, again, gets a little bit simpler, but is going to take a lot of time. So once you've reached this point right here, come all the way to the of the entrance. With your red wall here, starting from the top left-hand corner of the entrance, coming back diagonally, do a red wall. Then going right, white, red. So you now have this shape just above the entrance. Now, still going right, but staying 1 block behind the quartz, you want to 1 row backwards, you still following the pattern want to do a white wall, kind of like coming back diagonally from the quartz block that you have at the top, and then going right of that, still just stay 1 row behind the quartz, you want to go right by 1 the red, white, red, white, red, white. Then, because we have to come back again still following the pattern, we want to come 1 block backwards, place a red wall, then go right by 1 the white, red, white, red, white. Same thing again, still following the pattern, 1 row backwards, staying in line with the quartz, we wanted to place a red, white, red, white, red. Come 1 block backwards, place a quartzes that we have like here, we've just placed a single red wall. We can't place any more red wall going to the right of it, can we? So, we want to, in this position right here, so we're coming like this way now, we want to place a white wall. So from the front you might be able to see the logic behind this. We have a red wall here, then we have a white, and then the next one is going to be placed still coming right by 1 with the red like this. And then the next one will be white. And then the next one will be red. Then white. And then we've run out of space. Can you guys see why it's ended up this way? So, still going right by simply one row, we've still followed the pattern like this. Can you guys see why it's this way? I hope that you can see why it's that way. Once you've done that on the right hand side, we'll be doing the same on the left, and we'll also be following the same pattern going all the way around. So, that's the right hand side done. Why don't we do the same thing to the left? So, the left, coming left of the entrance now, we want to still follow the same pattern. And you may even notice that, for the most part, the colours that we use for the roof are the same that we use just down below, so it's very easy to see if you make a mistake, but we want to add in basically the first layer of the roof going all the way around the top of the circus. Once this like base layer is done, I'll show you guys what you have to do next. So we're coming to the part where we now have to like place single blocks, so you'll be able to see we're now on the left hand side here, and going left of this red wall we want to, in this position, place a white. It's just one block going left, red, then white, then red, and then white here. So we want to have something which should look a little bit like this. You guys can see why it is this way, and it's easier if we start with the largest part of this and kind of like work out to the side. So that is the front left, front right hand side kind of like planned out. Why don't we do the same to the back, and then we can kind of like move on and actually build up the roof. So we're now on the back here. Let's start off with this very long row that we have at the back. I believe it's a row of 23. So you can see that starting from the top left hand side of the back of this of the actual circuit itself, we want to do up diagonally. Coming inside, we want to do a white wall, and the reason that we know it's white is because look at the color just beneath it. And then going right, it's red, white, red, white, so on and so forth. We're just following the colors that are below the blocks, so you guys will be able to see in just a moment. It's the same process as we did with the front, except it's now with the back. And then we have to do the same thing, so we now have to just kind of like adhere to the shape of the actual circus, and we just have to kind of like build around, coming inside by one row every single time that we have a quartz block. We're just building up the very base of the roof. And now we've reached a point where we can't place any more blocks like going right, so we have to like come in a little bit more. We have to place these blocks a little further away from each other, but they are still just one block to the right. That's all they are, and then we eventually get to the side here, and then we've run out of room, and it's the same thing that we've done like 2 times already. We've now done it 3 times. Let's move on to the back left hand side here, and again it's just the same thing over and over, but you can see we're just building up. We've now got to like the single block stage. I just destroyed that white block that's supposed to be here. We're now at the single block stage once more, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm placing that there. We have one red and then one less white to do, and we want to have something which I guess bird's eye view might be in order. We'll want to have something which should in total look a little bit like this. You can see that we're essentially went all the way around the inside of the top of the circus, and we've just adhered one block inwards, except when it gets to the sides. You guys know how we reach this point. So what are we going to be doing next? How does this help us accomplish the roof? So once you've reached this point right here, and you have to do this with every single one of these blocks, the roof comes in 2 halves, the front and the back. Let me show you. So we want to take each one of these blocks that we've placed on the front here, and coming up and joining up at the top of the roof, we want to do up diagonals from each one of these blocks. So this is the top left hand corner block of the entrance. This is red wool. With this red wool, we want to do a row of red diagonally coming from that very first red wool all the way up to the top. So we want to start from the bottom, and we want to do a row of red wool that comes all the way up to the top of the circus. So this is going to take a long time, especially these most outer rows. Obviously it gets ever so slightly faster and faster as you move to the outside, because you do get closer to the center of the circus, but you should find that this will connect diagonally. It will not connect to the top like this. It will connect diagonally to the row of quartz that we have. So just to give you guys a bit of an example, that is the red wool layer. That's the red wall. The white wall next to it is easier to place because we can just place it directly next to this layer of red. Not only do we have to do this to this row of red, we'll have to do it to all of the other red walls, we'll have to do it all the way to the all along with the other white walls and reds. We want to connect every single one of the blocks basically diagonally to the top. Why don't I do this first middle layer so you guys can get a feel of like how this is supposed to be built up, and then I'll do it to some of the outer layers as well, and you can see how it contrasts from like the center, and it kind of like gets smaller and smaller as it gets to the outside. And I'll also show you what you have to do to the most outer part. This is it. This is all you have to do over and over again. You take each one of those blocks that we have extended outwards and we just connect it all the way up to the top center part of this. It's not hard, it's not difficult, it takes time. That's it. That's the only thing that it takes. It's not hard at all, but it's the same process over and over again. You guys can see how long this, just like this middle center bit's taken already. And this is one of the easiest layers to do because you don't have to do that many diagonals. Once you've done that very first layer of diagonals, the rest of it you can just like follow along. You don't have to keep individually building up each one of the layers. And I really should be working my way down as well. Like when I get to the top, I should kind of like be snaking my way down. Like that'd actually make this a little bit faster. It'd reduce the travel time, but you know, that's how that goes. Whoops, took off flight, silly me. My TV's actually trying to turn itself off, so let me just stop it, guys. I apologize. Very unprofessional, very unprofessional. There we go, it stopped itself. Remote's just flung on the bed behind me now. So we're now just adding the layer of white. I don't think that we're too far off of finishing this first front bit. And then, like I said, what will happen is I'll show you guys a couple of the other layers. We'll build that up a little bit, and then we will do these sides. And then once one like whole side of the circus is done, the whole front, since we're starting with the front, we'll then move on to the back. The back, once you've done it once, of course, it always gets easier and easier, but I like to think that this is so simple already that there's no way that this could possibly get easier. Like it's just this continuously. It's this forever until the roof has no gaps in it whatsoever. And we'll be addressing the side parts because the sides are a little bit different. You know, when you get to those single blocks, obviously since you're only going to be doing one layer of the colour coming up to the side, I'll show you how to fill those and actually get there. But we have filled in the very front centre part of the circus, and we have something which should so far look like this. So that's what we're going to have. Let me show you guys how it's going to work for the other parts. So just coming one layer outwards here, it's the same thing. So we'll take this very end white wall and we'll just now build this up to that layer of quartz. It will, it not should, it will, because, well, it's designed that way. If you've got all of the measurements correct, it will connect diagonally to the quartz that we have right all the way up at the top. So it's so many diagonals, and that's why it gets harder and harder as it goes out, or that's why it becomes more time consuming and more time consuming as it comes out. But we've just about reached the top. We're not too far off, are we? About 5 more, shall we say? That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, and that'll be 5. I was right. And that'll connect. That's that layer done. And then we have to do the same thing here. So we're now on the next little section, and we have to extend this up coming diagonally. And I'm going to do this all the way for the front left-hand side. I'm not going to do it all the way on recording on the right-hand side because the roof is the most time-consuming part of this. We also have to do the floor, and I will be doing the floor as well. The interior floor, or I might just refer back to my original version of this. I'll probably end up doing that, to be honest. But we just want to very, very continuously do the same thing over and over again. As I keep saying, there's nothing much more to this. We want to just keep building up diagonals, and it gets like 1 block less every time until we eventually get to the sides, but it all takes a massive amount of time. You can see that that is the next section that we've done. And then obviously, like going right towards here, we're just going to, it's just going to build up like this, and it will build up like this, so it's all layered and layered and layered, and you guys can see how that's going to go. But I'm not going to do each one of these other sections right now, actually. So let me show you how it works with like the individual like red and white walls as we get to the side, because like I said, I don't want to do this entire thing on recording because I don't know how long it took me for my original, but I think it actually took me like over an hour or something. But there were a couple of errors in it with mine because I was still designing it at the time. So we're taking this very first single red wall, and just to show you how it connects all the way up to the top here, it's going to want to connect as we get closer and closer to that center, to like where the tightrope is. I know that we're actually getting closer. It might not even connect diagonally. Like when we get to these outer parts, it doesn't connect diagonally. It actually connects either directly to the quartz or just like one block underneath like the rest. But you can see that it even works with these very single blocks, and then we'll do the same thing here with the white that's like right next to it. And we want to have this coming all the way up to the outside. And something that you will notice is this next layer of white, can you see that there's now a space like between the white and my point of like how you're supposed to do this, how this all builds up. And I'll probably just do the rest of it all by myself, and you guys can do the same. So it's basically just this repeated over and over and over and over and over again until you eventually this white wall here. We just build up the same thing over and over again. Just imagine that all of the layers are filled in. I'm now going to go away. I'm going to fill in the entire front minus the sides, because the sides are a little bit different. I'm going to fill in the entire front. I'm going to do all of these diagonal rows that connect to the top of the circus, and then I'll be back in just a moment once I've finished that, and you guys will be able to see what you have to do for the sides. So I'll be back in just a moment, guys. Let me work on this next bit. So just a little update on the roof, since I am building it along with you guys. This is kind of where I've got to right now. This is kind of like all of each one of the individual sections kind of like mapped out, and now all I have to do is kind of like just drag each one of the other colors like over the section. So like the base of it's done, like the holes that we have, but now that that's done, everything's actually quite easy. We would have had to do for each one of the like individual parts of this roof, each one of like the individual layers, but now it's actually quite easy. Each one of those is done on both the left and the right hand side, so I'm just going to continue doing this little quick update. I am suffering along with you, and I'll be back once I've actually like filled in the entire front of the roof, and I'll show you guys how to fill in the sides, like the spaces in between like the individual layers of white and red that we have there. So I'll be back in, I guess, a second for you guys, but it's going to be a really long time once each one of these parts has actually been filled in. So back in a mo. Oh my god, that took a long time. So that is the entire front of the roof taken care of. That is all of the rows of the front completely done, looking nice, looking pretty good. But we are then left with the sides. Once the entire front has been done, you'll be left with holes in the side. How do you fix this situation? It's quite easy. The easiest way to do it is to do it from the inside, and you can see where we have like this red wool here, like this is the first outer layer. This red wool here, all we do is we fill the under part of those red wool blocks, we fill those in with red wool. What do you guys suppose we'll do to the next layer that's white? I'll give you until I finish this row to figure it out. After we filled in this layer of red wool, once we've completely like filled this in with red, and from the outside it'll look like this, the next layer that we'll be doing is this layer of white. Guess what? We do the same thing here. We just fill this layer in with white wool. And then the next one, we've got another layer of red. It's slightly bigger. They will get bigger every single time until they eventually get smaller. It's like, it goes from like small space to big to small space. It's kind of like a bell curve or something. But we'll fill this layer in with white. Then what do we do to the next one? It's red. We fill that layer in with red wool. So we'll just come all the way to the bottom because I found it easiest. We'll fill this in with red. Then next layer white, red, etc, until we've just filled in each one of these spaces. Now, this doesn't look amazing from the side. Like, I'll admit, like, the sides of the circus are the weakest parts of the circus, but there's no other way to do it, really, and still kind of, like, adhere to the colour combination. Plus, I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I'm kind of, like, being tough on myself. It doesn't look that bad, so I'm just going to fill in the entire side exactly how I've described. Once I've done that, obviously we'll have to do the same thing to the opposite side, and then we can move on to the opposite half of the roof, and that will probably take an equal amount of time, probably slightly less, since once you've done it once, obviously, like, it's much easier to do it a second time, but I probably won't even be doing that on recording at all. Like, never mind recording, I probably won't be doing that full stop. I'll probably just show you guys the full done version of the circus, because after I've actually filled in this side, and probably the other side as well, I'll show you the last little bit of detail that you can add to the circus to kind of like make it stand out a little bit, and then I'll show you the full version of this, the first version of this I made, and then we'll probably wrap it up, because there's no need to like show you the interior in detail for the original one. I can just show you how it looks when it's been filled in with sandstone, because that's what I've done with the original. Like, the entire floor's filled in with sandstone, but we've just about filled in this entire side. It ends up looking a little something like this. And like I said, like, is it perfect? Is that the best that we could do? Yeah, it kind of is. Like, it's not perfect. It does look good, but I wish that it did carry on the checker pattern, but it still looks good regardless. So that is the left-hand side of the circus filled in. We've got to do the same thing to the right-hand side, so we'll have to come all the way over to here, and we'll have to fill in the right-hand side. I'd definitely suggest doing it from... Oh, wow, I actually missed a row. Can you see on this right-hand side? I missed a row. I didn't build this this diagonal row of red up. I actually have to add this in. Like, this is the row that we had on the other side that we had to add just one layer of red underneath of. So I'm going to be working on this right-hand side, guys. I'm going to fill this thing in, and then I'll show you guys the last little bit of detail that you might want to add to the to the out-hand side is what I'm trying to say, to the outside of the circus, that's a little bit unique, that isn't just the roof, and then we will discuss this a little bit more. So I'm just going to continue filling in this right-hand side, and then I'll be back once it's finished, and I'll show you it, and then we can move on, is what I'm trying to say. So I'll be back in just a moment, guys. Okay, so that is the entire right-hand side filled in the exact same way that we filled in the left-hand side. That is one half of the roof complete. Once you've done that first half, obviously the second half is the exact same, except, well, on the back of this. So, what are we going to do next? Are we going to do that other half, or are we going to move on to the next bit? So, once you have completed that entire first half of the roof, you do have to do the other half, obviously. It's not just a big open thing, but I'm not going to do it on recording. Instead, I'm going to show you the other bits that we have on the outside of the tent that isn't the roof, and then I'll hop over and I'll show you guys the entire full thing. So, that's the first half done. What you then want to do after the first half, guys, is take out your block of quartz again, come all the way to the entrance, and in front of the entrance, do a layer of block of quartz. So just add a layer of quartz in front of the entrance, so you now just have like a quartz archway. Once you have your quartz archway, you can then discard your smooth sandstone and your oak wood planks for a little while, and we want to grab our old pals, the nether brick fence and the yellow wool. Once we have each of these, we then want to come all the way over to the, you see this little segment here where we have this row of 7 next to the entrance. Well, starting from this very bottom 7th quartz block, we want to build up a row of 10 nether brick fence from the ground. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we want to have 10, so that'll be 7, 8, 9, and 10. We then want to place a row of 5 yellow wool coming up from that 10. So that's 1, come on, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this. So we want to head this shape. It kind of looks like a big giant chip on a big post. Once you have this row of yellow, we're now going to write out circus. Each one of these letters is 3 blocks wide and 5 blocks high. They are also 1 block away from each other. Bear all of those things in mind. So take this row of yellow, take blocks number 1 and 5, extend them to the right each by 1 like this. Then, the next letter in our circus is going to be I. The I is 1 row away, and it is as tall as the C. It is just a single row of vertical yellow wool. We then have to do R. Starting from the top of the eye, leaving one space, we want to have a row of 3 yellow wool going right. We then want to take the third block, extend it down 1, do a bottom left diagonal, then do a bottom right diagonal, go down 1, then take that very first block in the row of 3 yellow and extend it down until it is equal height to the other letters. Next to the R, we want another I. I is of course just a row of 5 vertical yellow wool that is one space away from the R. Now we need another C. You guys know how to do C. It's just one single vertical row of yellow wool and we extend blocks number 1, blocks number 5, top and bottom to the right each by 2 to give us our C. Then we need to do an S. So starting from the bottom right hand corner of the U, we want to place one yellow wool one row away going to the right. We then want to go right of that wool by 2, then up 2, left 2, up 2, right by 2 to form a shape which should look like this. Circus. We then want to take our nether brick fence and starting from the bottom right hand corner of the S, we just want to do a layer of nether brick fence which just runs all the way from the ground all the way up like this. So we just want to have something which should look a little bit like this. And if you want to, maybe perhaps behind the yellow wool that we've used, you may want to add a layer of glowstone if you kind of want to make it look a little bit more 3D. If you want to make it light up a little bit, kind of completely up to you. I haven't done this on my original. I was just thinking that maybe this is something that could maybe look a little bit nice. So, this is Circus, this is like the big sign in front of it, just in case like the big giant circus tent wasn't a giveaway to some people. Actually writing Circus out, I found, and especially with not even this, like with any build, it really does cement what you have to do. So if you kind of want to make it 3D, if you want to make it a little bit lighty, you might want to add that. So that is your circus done. That's the interior pretty much done, minus the sandstone. That is the roof, that is the building done, minus the opposite half of the roof. Except, I don't want to have to do this another time. It takes a really long time. I also don't want to knock out the floor. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the original version of the circus, which is identical to this, except the roof is done and the floor is done on the inside, plus I've added some lights. So, you guys know how to build the rest of this thing, you know exactly how to make it look like the one I'm about to show you. I'm going to go away and I'll show you the original version of this, back in a moment. Alright guys, so here we are. This is my original world. This is actually my creative world number 6. We're surrounded by all of my current and ongoing creations. First thing I wanted to show you, of course, was the back of the circus tent, and there is one thing that I do want to mention about the back. As I didn't account for this because I actually had to build up the back for this tent that you're looking at right now. I had completed the front, but I didn't actually complete the back on this original version right here. So that's what I've been doing. It actually took me about an hour or so. I had to do a couple of things in between. But this is the back of the tent, almost identical to the front of the tent, except for this cheeky little row right up here. Can you see how we have this row of multicolored red and white blocks underneath this top row of quartz right at the top? Well, unfortunately, because the back is ever so slight small change that you have to make for the back, and everything else the exact same, including the sides and the front and the back and all of those foam things. They're all the exact same except for that very, very small row right there. And that is it, guys. I mean, that'll take you a really long time. Doing all of the roof is definitely the most time-consuming part, but I have shown you how to do the entire roof, I've shown you how to do the base, I've shown you how to do everything, the interior, the lot. The only difference between this circus and the one that you guys might be looking at right now on your screen when you eventually finish it is the fact that I have actually ripped up the floor for the interior and I've put a little bit of light everywhere. So this is the interior, and doesn't it actually look kind of cool? I really, really like this. Yes, it's dark in here. Yes, it's supposed to be this dark, and I like it that way. I like that we kind of have like the stage lit up. We've got the seats lit up. We've got the little kind of like walkway all the way up to the ringlet up. It's quite nice. The only difference is that for the interior, I ripped it up, replaced it with smooth sandstone, or you could also use, what's this called, chiseled sandstone or regular sandstone, any sort of sandstone that isn't just regular sand. And there you go, that's the only difference. Like, I've lit it up a little bit. I would suggest putting lighting all the way around the top of that top layer of quartz that runs all the way around the top of your circus, even getting a little bit of fog in that corner. This place is so big. I would also suggest running glowstone from the entrance all the way up to the ring. That's just in line with this left hand side and this right hand side. I would also add torches to the bottom of the, what do you call it? The bottom of the tightrope platform at the top. I'd also add torches to the very corners of the ring, if I haven't already mentioned that, and also to the seats. You don't need too much, but I definitely think that it's cool if you kind of have like this sort of mood lighting where, like, where people are sitting is lit up, where the actual show would be going on is lit up, and I don't think you have to do too much more, and I think that the interior is perfect. You can light it up more if you want, or you cannot, completely up to you, of course. Very, very cool in here, very, very simple, and that's the interior, and that's the exterior, guys. That's it. There's not too much more to show you than this. I actually quite like it in the dark as well. I decided to light up the back of the sign on this as well, so now it actually looks, I mean, look at it, like the inside's lit up perfectly, the actual sign's lit up. I quite like it. I quite like the sign lit up. Just a little bit there. So let's turn off the UI, let's talk about this. So hopefully you guys have managed to make this. If you guys like it, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a like, a favourite, a share, anything that you would feel like doing to help me out. I would always vastly appreciate. I spent a lot of time designing this circus, building it up, messing about with it, critiquing it, tweaking it. It took a lot of my time, and as you guys know, not only does it take a lot of time to just build the thing, probably take you a couple of hours just to build it, but imagine also adding in the design process. So if you wouldn't mind, like, favorite, share this video. The only reason I made it was because it has been so highly suggested that I make a circus, and you know me, I'm a people pleaser. So if you wouldn't mind, like, favorite, share this video, check out the card system. There'll be links to loads of videos and playlists in there that I think that you will really, really want to check out. I would highly recommend my Real World Buildings playlist. If you like real world buildings, and I know quite a lot of you guys do, check that out. This is definitely going to be slammed into that playlist, and you might have even seen Dunkin' Donuts in the background. We've got a clock tower. Feel free to also check out my World Tour playlist if you want to see a little bit more of this current world. So, also, comment down below, tell me what you get, even if it's massive like this. Also, check out the card system for more videos and playlists by me that I think that you guys will really enjoy. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.